Welcome back to the Graham Stephan Show. My name is Graham and welcome to my show, and we are entering another phase of the infinite monetization loop because I posted a video where a fiancé was paying rent to her really wealthy soon-to-be husband, and after I did that, we got this channel here that reacted to me reacting to that, and she had some choice words to say, so I reacted to her reacting to me reacting to Glamour, and then she reacted to me reacting to her reacting to I'm lost. But anyway, she just recently posted a video in response to what I said, so I'm going to respond to her in the only way that I know how, which is by monetizing it. So with that said, guys, make sure to do your part to hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe if you're watching this. You haven't done that already. May as well do that. And now with that said, let's begin. Making $180K in Manhattan spends her money. That is a sentence that, I had to read this multiple times to make sure it even makes grammatical sense.
Maybe not grammatical sense, but, you know, for the YouTube search, it made sense.
I am going to be reacting to a reaction video by Graham Stephan.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. I don't even know where we're going to be putting my face on this screen. We'll figure that out as we go along. But for now, you know what? I'm going to hear her out, see what she has to say, and I'll give you my honest thoughts.
He's reacting to a video about how people spend their money. This one is titled, How a 31-Year-Old Blogger Making $180,000 in Manhattan Spends Her Money.
See, I love these videos because it's me reacting to somebody else, reacting to me, reacting to an episode of Glamour. Oh, little did I know just how far this rabbit hole would go. I mean, at this point, it's just ridiculous, but that's what makes it funny.
So I made this video actually for my women followers. You'll see it's basically two people living in a household where one is clearly more wealthy, but he is kind of expecting her to also take on the financial of that same lifestyle, which she clearly cannot afford. And that's not really a fair way to live your life. And I wanted to spread that to my women audience.
Now, here's the thing, though. I mean, in a sense, I agree with a lot of what she has to say, but who's to be the one that decides what's fair and what's not? Because, I mean, life in general, not fair. No matter what it's going to be, someone's going to have an advantage or a disadvantage over what you have to do. So, in a way, it's like, you know, if it works for them, it works for them. But let's go deeper on this because there's a lot more to the story, by the way, because this situation is actually, you know, is a bit kind of crazy. I even said it myself, but just see for yourself. She's getting all these free gifts. She's got a $50,000 engagement. How could you look at this and say it's a prison?
Because the prison looks a certain way. It looks like it's, like he said, gifts and all these nice things, but they're given to her for the wrong reason. If we were to take somebody who is in debt, as she is, struggling to make ends meet, and because she's in debt, and the thing she is getting in return is random gifts that don't benefit her but benefit the male, her fiance, and the house.
Isn't it better to get those, though, than get nothing? Like, imagine if she was in debt and was doing all these things and got no gifts. Like, I would rather at least get a gift. Now, I know it's kind of structured in such a way where it's like, sure, he gets to benefit from it too, but isn't still at the end of the day, it's a net positive, right? Like, she's getting something. Like, I'd rather get something than nothing. That's what I have to say.
I definitely agree with all of his points about the finances.
Yes. Yes. All right.
I love finance on my channel a lot because I think women should invest, women should be smart with their money and not spend it on things that don't appreciate in value unless they already have a savings and an investment account and hopefully some type of side income that helps them grow. Then they can be a little bit more reckless with their money, but not too much.
I agree with that, and I would love to see more women in the whole finance space. I think if you look at least on my channel, or most channels actually, it's about 85% male. So how about this? If you're a part of the 15%, just let me know. I'd be like, yo, Graham, hey, part of the 15%, what's up? We're here, we exist. That would be kind of cool, but just in general, I would love to see this more balanced out. And I think the more attention is focused on it and improving finances and learning, the better.
I am a CEO and founder of an influence on multiple.
Where's my face gonna go? I'm looking at this video, I'm like, I am twice here. I don't even know if I need to be here the first time. So ridiculous. Why? Man, pretty soon there's gonna be no video. Yeah, I remember looking at this place and being like, the design is phenomenal. Like, everything about this place was so nice, except we all wanted to know what her fiance did. He was the only one not discussed, really, at all. And it seemed like he was the one kind of funding a lot of this.
He actually wasn't necessarily funding it, because from the situation, he has this place, but he makes her split the rent. And he makes way more. So for him, it's easier to pay that. And it's a substantially smaller percentage of his income. While for her, it really is a struggle. If she was single, then she would probably downsize and pay less.
Yeah, but she's still making good money. It's not like she, is living a minimum wage job and like pouring everything into this. She was making a decent living. She's got some businesses going on. So at the end of the day, I felt like, sure, it's a higher price to pay for rent. But if you include all the other stuff she's getting in return for that, it's not so bad. It's kind of like thinking, if someone was blowing like 80% of their income on one thing, but it meant that like, oh wow, they get all of this over here, and they get this, and they get this, and they get this, and they get $50,000 gifts. Well, then it's, not so bad as spending 80% but then getting nothing.
He's obviously not going to downgrade and live somewhere way cheaper, because he is used to this more luxurious, high-end lifestyle, because that's what his money allows. But her other option is to not live together and to pay something she can afford and not financially straining herself. But that would mean not living with her fiance. Does that also mean not living with your husband if you're still adhering to this policy of we must split everything evenly?
The thing is, most likely, if she's on her own in New York City, it's going to be way higher than her splitting this with somebody else and then not getting all the gifts. I forgot she made $180,000 a year. If that's the case, splitting $9,000 rent, so she's paying $4,500 a month. It's not bad. If you think that you're going to spend 1/3 of your income on rent, she's actually spending less than 1/3 of her income on rent. And when you consider just how many people are paying 50% of their income on rent, again, she falls in the thresholds here of like what's considered acceptable. How do we know he's not the frugal one and she's like,
hey honey, we gotta live in this penthouse apartment? He's like,
no, I'd rather do van life. And she's like,
no, I'm not setting foot in that dingy van. I want to live in this.
Maybe it's her. We don't know that. Probably not though. I mean, listen, if she were marrying a guy who wasn't rich, they would probably be splitting the bills anyway.
True, that is a potential. However, they would be both within their means. They would be living in a place where it doesn't strain both of them. But just knowing that your partner has the ability to help you out and he doesn't, to me, is a red flag.
It seems to me more like objectively, she can't afford it. It isn't her price point. Is there a better place for the money in paying down her own personal debt? Yeah. But, I mean, just because someone has the funds to do it doesn't mean that they necessarily should. It's like, if you go out to dinner with everybody, should the person who has the most money pay for everybody because they have the most money? Not necessarily. So I think in this aspect, I guess it really just depends. Is he out blowing like 30 grand a week at the club and, driving around supercars all day? Or is he living a frugal lifestyle, investing the rest of it, being smart with it? Is he obligated to spend money on the things because he has it, even though she can't afford it? We're getting into the nitty-gritty of relationships here, and I would love to hear her thoughts. Not her, but the person in the Glamour video on what ended up happening. Like, are they still together? Are they happy? Is she making more money? They're still splitting the rent? What does she think about this? I would love that. What if she's the one going and spending all the money? Let that sink in for a second. He's worth all this money, but he's like, you know what, honey? We don't need such a nice apartment in Manhattan. I'd much rather live over there and we could save a little bit of money. It's so funny. I completely forgot what I said because this was like over a year ago and I'm saying the same things now.
I don't think that's how it is. I think it's actually him wanting to carry on his luxurious lifestyle and her just kind of pulling teeth and trying to pull her weight just to stay with him.
Who spends more? Men or women? I'm actually really curious about this. Wow. Okay. Who do you think spends more money, men or women? Just guess. Just think of it mentally. And I'll tell you in a second, okay? Because a study found that overall, single men outspent single women, but by only a slight margin. There you go. Single men spent an average of $35,000 a year, and single women spent $33,700 a year. That's very interesting. I didn't know that. Wow. Okay, hey, you came here and you learned something. The more you know. That's what I don't fully understand is like, why is that a negative thing that she's able to bring something to the table? She's able to provide. She's able to take care of herself. She's able to get her own things.
Because what's the point then? If she can provide for herself and take care of herself, she was doing that just fine before she met him. But now that she met him, she is having to change her financial structure and pay more for something she clearly cannot afford.
How do we know that, though? I forget why she couldn't afford this thing. She's making 180 grand a year. To me, $4,500 a month in rent in New York City isn't high, but it's not something where I'd be like,
Oh, what is that? Absolutely no way. That's bad.
it's just, it is what it is, and she's paying less than most people would pay on rent in terms of a percentage of their income. So that's where I'm kind of getting at here.
Who do you think the gift is from? If I were to take a wild guess, I'd probably say it's from her fiance, who feels generous to give her a $30,000 gift for his house, so she can decorate it, so she can spend her precious time, her precious energy, giving love, giving comfort to him in his place.
What? You could just hire a designer. If that's really what you need, just hire a designer. To me, that just seems like a nice gesture.
No, it's basically killing two birds with one stone. It's like, I want this painting for my house because it will look nice, but I'm going to give it to her so she can decorate it and feel useful, like she's decorating our place. But in reality, I'm getting it for my property, for my apartment that I would have had with or without her.
Yeah, but wouldn't that still be hers, though? Like, let's just say in the event that they broke up, she keeps the gifts. So these are something that she'd be able to take with her, even though it's a gift, and sure, it might benefit him too. But if anything were to ever happen, that's hers. She could say, oh, I want to sell that. I want to do something with it. She can move it. I don't know what else you could do with it, but what else do you do with a painting? Look at it. You could move it somewhere else. You could look at it over there instead on that wall. I don't know. I think she still keeps those gifts. It's like she gets to live in this place too. She gets to enjoy all the artwork, I gotta say.
If she were given the choice of, I will put $30,000 towards your business, towards your investment portfolio, towards your debt, towards real estate, or so you don't have to pay whatever, a mortgage or rent, versus here, put this up on the wall for $30,000 and all of those, which one do you think she would choose? The first one she would enjoy much more. It will completely alleviate her stress level.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. But again, we don't know the full context. It seems kind of strange that, unprompted, there would be this, very specific piece of artwork for the wall that's hers as a gift. Maybe she picked it out. We don't know this. Maybe she's the art connoisseur here. It's like, I want that piece of art for this wall, and he buys it for her, and she enjoys the art. I think there's so many variables here that could play into it. But otherwise, yeah, I agree. If she's $30,000 in debt and someone gives her a $30,000 painting, it's probably not the most tactful gift out there. But again, we don't know the full situation. I would love to get into the nitty-gritty of this and really dive deep and figure out what's going on.
That's at least $38,000 in just gifts, which isn't really a gift to her. Again, it's a gift for the house.
No, I disagree. Listen, if you give a gift like that and something happens between them, it's not like he's gonna be like, no, it's on the wall now. Now it's affixed to the property, and that stays. No, those are gifts to her.
Hey, you don't know that. He might say that. And at the end of the day, how liquid are those gifts anyways? Could she just turn around and sell them? Probably not. Who is just gonna buy random artwork, I don't even know what artist or whatever that is, and just overnight turn that into cash that she can actually use?
Well, if it's 30 grand, even if you have to liquidate that at a fraction, worst case, she's selling it $5,000. Worst case, with one phone call. Guaranteed, any art dealer would take that piece, a $30,000 piece, on consignment and basically just pay up front for it. Almost anyone would do that. So yeah, it might take some time to get 30 grand. Maybe she's not gonna get the full price for it. 5 grand? Oh yeah, most likely, absolutely, unless the guy just got ripped off and it's a fake.
And if I know that even for Christmas, if I can go and buy a random designer purse for somebody versus getting them an investment or money, that's actually what happened last Christmas, is got Ethereum from my cousin-in-law and then money towards my aunt's construction.
That Ethereum, man, how much is that down? It's down for all of us, but what is it at right now? $1,600. Hey, that's not terrible. So she bought Ethereum in December, $4,000. She probably would have been better off just buying a Chanel purse or something like that, something that's gonna hold. But you know what, in fairness, everything is down by a lot.
On 3 e-commerce sites, I manage them with a small team.
Love this. Okay, here's another gift we see here. A $49,000 ring.
That's just so uncomfortable to just be in a position where you're getting all of these things and your life seems on the surface level so nice. Like, wow, I have a beautiful ring. I have a beautiful painting hanging over the wall. I live in this apartment. But you know that deep down behind all of these materialistic items, you're stressed because you're in debt and you have to pay for things that you cannot afford just to be with the person that you love.
I don't know, to me, am I going nuts here? I feel like it's not that bad. I mean, she makes 180 grand a year, lives in a beautiful spot. She's got to pay rent. I mean, to me, it's just like that's a small price to pay to get everything else that seems to be coming along. Am I nuts? Is it just me? I mean, maybe I'm off base here. And please, talk some sense into me in the comment section. I'd love to read this one. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe this is just my thinking on this, that, I don't think it's that bad.
Here's a piece of art I got for you that's a gift.
$30,000, $8,000.
That's almost like coming to $100,000, 6 figures of money he can clearly just like, it's FU money at that point, right? Like, do whatever. If you can buy a $30,000 painting, you have FU money, which means you're probably pretty good at your business. You probably got a solid stock portfolio.
What if he bought it as an investment though? Like, I'm kind of at that point where, I'm getting into more adventurous investments. The Ford GT was an example, but that was a strategic buy because I thought that car was going to go up in value, and that car outperformed the stock market.
But you don't want to pay off her debt. This is your future wife. This is potentially the mother of your children. Like, do you even love this woman? That's what I would be asking.
Before I even comment on this, and you already know what I'm gonna comment if you watch any of my videos.
Yeah, she's going to tell him to pay down the debt. Now,
yeah,
it is kind of silly. Now, objectively, okay, let's look at this objectively. If he's buying her a $38,000 painting and she has $30,000 of debt, it's a little unbalanced. It just makes it question the value of the art versus paying down her loan. But then again, she did take out the loan, and this could be her responsibility to pay that down with the money that she makes. I don't know.
What I don't understand also is like struggling to prove a point.
The thing that I'm thinking now, after revisiting this, is that, sometimes it could be a good idea to have debt on a business, especially maybe for liability reasons. It shows that she'll have less assets. She could use the write-off. New York City has very high state income tax, so perhaps it's better to leverage her money from the business that's separate and her debt than, paying it off entirely, even though they could. But I think if it's a write-off and it's debt on the business, then, hey, maybe that is okay.
When you're married, you're supposed to do things together, and now this is just anchoring the whole relationship down. There's more stress. It's not just financial stress, that turns into emotional and mental stress that affects relationships. So why suffer when you don't have to?
She could be independent though and want to forge her own path and feel like, hey, this is my responsibility. I'm going to take care of this. I don't want you to bail me out all the time. This is my thing. Don't worry about it. Maybe it's something like that. So we don't know.
People who are multi-millionaires and billionaires, they have these challenges, and if something fails, they just move on. They move on to bigger things. They're not going to be out there stressing.
Oh, I disagree with that. I mean, here's the thing. You have to learn every step of the way. A lot of people are like, hey, Graham, if you just give me a shout out on the channel, just give me one shout out, then I'll do really well on YouTube and everyone will start watching me. It doesn't work like that. Like, if anything, that's a curse, because when you get that audience, it's so difficult to maintain that. And if anything, it hinders you because you don't know what to do and those things to keep people interested that you would have learned in the very beginning. This could be strategic business leverage. Think of it this way. If she took out a personal loan to fund this stuff, that's all a tax write-off. Like, in certain situations, it could be better for her to take that loan out at a really low interest rate and just wait to pay it off. It's essentially...
I mean, that is true if that's the case. If it's a really, really low interest rate and she uses that $30,000 to actually make more money, then there's nothing wrong with that. But clearly she's financially struggling because she can't barely afford the rent. So I don't think that's the situation here.
But you know what? She's also, I believe, working from home. So maybe she's able to write off some of her housing payment with a home office. See? So maybe there's more discretionary income left over than we think.
At the money I'm making right now, I could really only afford to spend like $2,500 a month if I'm expected to save and do all these other things. So I'm happy to split a place $2,500 a month each. But now I remember the issue that I didn't like with this is that she was basically just like a break even every single month. I didn't like that. And not because of their relationship, but just because I don't think that was the financially smart thing to do.
Okay, now I agree with what I said back then. I think it kind of makes some sense. She doesn't have a lot of money left over, but then again, we don't know exactly the true extent of it.
Would he be okay with that, or would he say, honey, I have an image to uphold. That is why I got you this $50,000 ring, because you are my wife and I am a man of prestige and money. And I have to hold my weight when it comes to having a nice apartment, having nice things, having my wife look nice, all of these things. But actually, you still have to pay half.
So at the end of the day, you know what? I do think that Glamour needs to update that video to give us more to react to. But in the big picture, I mean, I agree with a lot of what Karina has to say. It's not like I disagree with it or anything. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. So if you guys appreciate videos like this, just do me a favor. Make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much, and until next time.